everybody, and welcome back to the Creature Hunt Show. Sorry, Godzillathon is still being pushed off a little bit further just because I'm kind of waiting for it to come in the mail. I had to actually buy the movie because Netflix doesn't have it, and I kind of thought they would, but apparently they don't. So, I'm going to do another Godzilla figure review. Yeah, you guessed that right. I've already got another new one, and I'm waiting to show it to you guys here, so let's take a look at Hedorah. I actually had this figure before the tornado, and I never got around to reviewing it, although I was getting very close. Actually, it was probably going to be the next one I reviewed, and so I didn't know it would be this long till I reviewed it again, but, oh well. So first off, let's just take a look at the tag right here real quick, and as you can see, it's a picture of Hedorah from Godzilla vs. the Smog Monster, and apparently that's how you say Hedorah in Japanese, or at least that's how you write it. And you can see it's a purple tag with the design on the back and the 2006 sticker. This is one of the most recent Bandai Godzilla figures that were still part of the movie Monster series. And whether or not they're going to continue that, probably not anymore, which is kind of sad, but, you know. But, yeah, that's, and on the inside you can see a different picture of him flying, which if Bandai made a version of that, that'd be pretty cool. And so here's the figure himself, which I gotta say is probably the best version of Hedorah I've ever seen. It's even got a little bit of articulation on it, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Just looking at it overall from, you know, from behind, the sides, and the front, and above, and below, and all that, it's just looking, you know, like super awesome right here. I mean, it's a smog monster, and it doesn't look just like a pile of dog crap. It actually looks like something cool, and I gotta say, it's kind of neat looking. I gotta say, I've never really been much of a Hedorah fan, although for some reason in recent years, Japanese Godzilla fans have just been crazy for Hedorah. And that is actually why this figure was made, because of his strange rise in popularity over in Japan. And I gotta say, I guess I could see why they would be interested in this figure, because, I mean, although it may be a monster that I'm not too particularly excited about, I do definitely appreciate how really well how much time and effort apparently Bandai took in making this. It's tons lot better than the Bandai Creation version, which I also had, and this thing is just multitudes better than that. So as for the history of Hedorah here, basically he's kind of an unknown anomaly in the Godzilla universe because we're really not sure where he came from. And the movie the only movie that he was really in, aside from Godzilla Final Wars, didn't really explain where he came from other than the fact that apparently he was from some sort of pollution and somehow that gave life to a bunch of muck and gunk and whatnot, and it came to life and started mutating. It started off as a tadpole, then it went into sort of a lizard form, then it came to this bipedal form, and then flying saucer form. And somehow men are to blame for this monstrosity, which basically is what the whole story of the Godzilla vs. the Smog Monster was. After they'd gone on from making movies about not to blow ourselves up with nuclear radiation, they went to making movies about not polluting the world. And basically that's what Hedorah here is, a giant, ugly public service announcement. But when put like that, he's not quite as scary, but this guy is definitely gave Godzilla a run for his money. And he also reappeared in Godzilla Final Wars, which he did look quite a bit different in that movie, and I wish they'd make a bigger version of it. They've only made a small one. But it's still, he was used by the aliens, so there's not a whole lot of history going on there either. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's take a look at the figure as itself, and start off with details. Okay, so here he is under the light, and just zooming in right there, you can see all the crustiness and cracks, and already it looks kind of, gives off that kind of shimmering effect that stagnant oil mixed with water kind of gives off. See, both of his eyes are perfectly normal there. I know, I think one of the Bandai versions had an eye that was all messed up, like it did later in the movie. But this one, he's got both of his eyes. And even the little add-ins of paint here and there give it a really nice look. It's just like it's a big mixture of just junk. Turning him around, you see this big giant egg sack or something on his back. I think that's what that is. Like the eggs are in there, which apparently he was starting to spawn eggs somehow. Like I said, not a whole lot of explanation on exactly how Hedorah works or what his origins are. But that's okay, he's a giant blobby monster and we just love him. And there's his head right there. Looks pretty cool. big old ugly mug. And if you can look under the arms here, you can even see a little bit of yellow under there as well. It's, well, you can't really see it very well. If I just lift up his arm, you can see a little bit of yellow in there, which is a nice little add-in. Like I said, Bandai apparently took a lot of time and attention to this guy, seeing as how their older version was in desperate need of a redo. Now, my version, his tail's a little stiff, and so it makes him kind of go forward a little, but that's just a minor issue right there. It has nothing to do with the figure as a whole. So yeah, I'd say, and even the little cracks on top of his head, awesome little add-in there. So overall, detail is just absolutely amazing on this thing. Now, I pretty much already showed you what the paint was like, but you can see the main color is this metallic-looking silver, which I've already shown you from Mechagodzilla and others, that Bandai has been using since about 1998 or 2001 or something like that. And it looks pretty good, works with him, gives him, like I said, that kind of shimmering oil stagnant pool, cesspool sort of look. But it's also got, much like oil does, it also has this different colors here, a little bit of, you know, sick green and disgusting purple and really bright snot yellow on under his arms, which is kind of strange. And then you also got the eyes, which are pretty cool looking. When you look at them up close, you can see that it's not only just red and yellow, but that eye is actually got a little bit of gold paint in there, which gives it kind of a strange ghostly look, contrasted against the bright red and the dark black. It really kind of gives it a whole personality all in of itself, and it's kind of scary looking actually. When you shine the light just right, it looks kind of like he's looking at you. I'm not even joking about that. It's kind of scary, but they definitely caught Hedorah's creep factor in this figure, that is for sure. And then, you know, paint on the tail and pretty much just all over the place, just, you know, like a blob monster would be. So yeah, paint job, once again, 5 out of 5. Now, articulation on this guy is of course going to be limited, seeing as how he is basically just a blob, but what is needed is also here. Now, you can see that there's no tail articulation or head articulation, but really, who does care? Basically, the only thing that does move are his arms, which you can raise to be kind of up like this, like he's, well, this one's a little stiff, but they're both supposed to splay out like that, and it's just, you know, kind of like he's going to give you a high five, or a kind of a lazy sideways high five, but, you know, a high five nonetheless. Basically, that's the only articulation. I'm not really much of a stickler for articulation. I think if it looks nice and it catches the character's basic look as it was in the movie, then I'm happy with it. And as I've already said, this thing does that to a T. It is perfect. But yeah, articulation isn't very much, but like I said, that doesn't really bother me that much. There's a little glue seal on the egg sac, which if it could be dislodged and possibly broken off, so I would be aware of that. Yeah, that's pretty much it for articulation. Not a whole lot, but who cares. Now, for size comparison. So, Hedorah, 1971. Let's put him up against another 1970s monster. Pretty famous here. Gigan. Yep, that's him. I got Gigan again. And, yeah, so they look pretty good together. Hedorah actually is, the one thing is, this Hedorah figure is actually pretty small. Because if you'll remember in the movie, he's actually a lot bigger than Godzilla. And since Gigan's about the same size as Godzilla, size doesn't exactly match up. He is actually kind of dwarfed by him. And also I've got Jet Jaguar here from the movie Monster series. Yeah, I've also got him again, which I'm totally happy about. And, you know, he's way out of scale, as you can see right there, just like not even close to being in scale. But that's alright. And then the only Showa Godzilla I've got, well, yeah, pretty much, is Godzilla 54, which, yeah, once again, not even close to being in scale. This Hedorah is basically, its only fault is that it is quite small compared to most of the other Godzilla figures. But really, that doesn't too much bother me. Like I said, if it represents the monster, then I'm happy. But it is kind of distracting if you do want to have them next to each other. But yeah, that's pretty much it for size comparison. Not very strong in that department, but well, there. So there you go, guys. That's Bandai's Hedorah. And well, I would say that this figure is at least a 4 out of 5. It is very, very close to being perfect. And the reason I only give it a 4 out of 5 is, one, for personal prejudice against the monster, because, like I said, it's not my very most favorite villain ever. And I never really liked the movie a whole lot, although I know lots of people do. But this monster isn't like my favorite or anything, because there's really not a whole lot to it. And like I said, there's not a whole lot of backstory there either. But I do definitely respect the fact that it looks completely like it did in the movie, like exact. Now I know there's probably better versions out there, like the X Plus version, which I could never dream of getting. But this version, for me, is just absolutely perfect. The perfect Hedorah. And the perfect Hedorah would probably only get a 4 out of 5 scale in my vote. But I definitely like it. I definitely think you should get it. It is not very expensive, but it will be going up in price. I guarantee that. Jet Jaguar has already gone up in price, just like I said it would. But this Hedorah probably will be soon following, since it's not quite as popular as Jet Jaguar. But definitely get this. It's awesome. If you like Showa monsters like me, then you've got to get it. And it's just, you know, obviously you have to get it if you like Showa monsters. This is one of the main guys from the Showa. But yeah, definitely get him. He's awesome. And thanks for watching this figure review. I hope you learned something. I hope I was able to convince you and entertain you. And basically, that's it. Hopefully Godzilla-thon will be continuing shortly, and I'll see you in a little bit. See you later, guys.